Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Personnel Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 13th, 2018. Alderman Stoyer, I'm here. We have Alderman Joe Moore. We also have Alderman Tom Sladak. Alderman Dwayne is excused. We also have Alders Nenning and Dorf in attendance. I would like an adoption of the agenda.
Make that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the minutes from the February 27th, 2018 meeting.
Move approval.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Number 4, consideration with possible action on request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers. Do we have any? We could take these individually. I know sometimes Alderman Dwayne likes to lump them together, but I don't know.
I didn't have any questions on any of them.
Neither did I.
All right, I'll make that motion that we take items A, B, C, and D all together and approve all four.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, next, then we, number 5, consideration with possible action on request to approve out-of-state travel. We've got 5A, 5B, and 5C. It's the police. I'll just read it. Detectives Kingston and Biller to attend training on conducting unexplained child death investigations in Colorado Springs, Colorado, May 6th through the 11th, 2018. Estimated cost for transportation, room and board, $954. I'm going to read them all. Police, B, forensic specialist Larson to attend analysis of distortion and latent prints workshop in Northville, Michigan, April 19th and 20th of this year. Estimated cost for transportation, room and board, $695. Thirdly, firefighter Cooper to attend 2018 I-Women Conference in Fairfax, Virginia, May 23rd to 26th of this year. Estimated cost for transportation, room and board, $1,065.
I move approval on all three items.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That passes. Number 6, request by Alderman Dwayne on behalf of constituent David Vanderleest to consider with possible action changing the city ordinance to have the head of the city legal department to be an elected position with a 4-year term running concurrent with the mayor's race and to start in the spring of 2019. Yes.
I was just going to say, I talked to Mr. Falls earlier today, and we were looking at this and thought that we might be able to roll this into something a little bigger, because our department heads are working on 2-year terms right now, where they're reappointed every 2 years. And if we're going to have a 4-year term for the attorney and 2-year terms for everybody else, I think maybe we could look at maybe expanding this to all departments. I mean, Attorney Falls, I think this is something you kind of wanted to review anyway, because we talked about the city manager position, and we had that before this committee too.
Right.
And if it's an elected position, then, you know, maybe we take a look at that city manager position as well at the same time. So I think that we could really evaluate our hierarchy here a little bit.
Yeah, I think just from my perspective, if we're gonna look at whether or not we should have one position elected, I figure why not look at all the appointed positions and see what we can do. I mean, I don't have a recommendation based on this. I think we should refer to staff no matter what we do.
Right.
But from a recruitment standpoint, it would be nice to be consistent and to have longer terms and try and recruit new directors as well. So that's the perspective I was coming from.
Have you looked at other communities and what they've done?
I have not done that yet, but
Okay,
that's what
so
we'd
that
like
was to
to
be
do.
part of the study.
Yep.
Well, I'd like to see more of that in
I-
the future.
I mean, I wouldn't mind hearing Mr. Vanderleest's reasoning on this too. I mean, he came to the meeting, so rather than just
So-
refer right
Talking
away.
for-
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Vanderleest?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I had a little extra time this winter.
Just throw your name and address out again.
David Vanderleest, 146 Alpine.
Thank you.
No snow for snowmobiling, so I decided to look at the roads in Green Bay and what we can do. And when I came up with that, I figured out that, well, we had about a $10 million budget gap on that issue every year. We need about $10 million is what we need for roads. I started to look at where the money could come from. When I looked at the city balance sheets and budgets, I figured out that over the last 15 years, when the city started falling behind on, resurfacing 4% of roads a year, because the average road lasts 25 years, from the time we started falling behind on that, which was shortly after Mayor Hallowen left, we had 2 large increases in our budget, one being legal fees, one being TIF financing. I'm here because I wanted to look at the legal fees, and I just thought if we had representation in the law department, there'd be a further degree of separation there. We wouldn't have able employees that sometimes, get tied to projects and say, what do I do if I don't agree with you? You get a job. I just think if you had someone who was accountable to the voters, it would be better. And when I started looking at that, where did the money go over, the years that we started falling behind on roads? We had the mall project, and I started looking in that. We had an attorney miss that if we let 2 stores out, then the other third anchor could leave. That cost us, tens of millions of dollars. That could have been 25 miles of road. We had the 7 Gen. There were details in that were missed. It's like there's no accountability to anything. It seems if the administration gets behind a project, the attorney's 100% behind the project. And I just feel like there's a conflict of interest there. Then I started looking. We had the Northland. There's just costly delays there. And when I started looking deeper into it, it seems as almost if there was information withheld from the council at times during this whole process, where the legal department knew stuff that the council didn't know. And I think, again, if we had something that was elected and accountable, we would get away from that. Then we have this new ethics code. And this thing could end in a First Amendment lawsuit before we're done. And I just think of how that was handled through the law department. I just think that we just need more accountability, and I'd just like you to look at it. And, it can work beautiful if the administration and the attorneys work together, and it can work horrible, like in the state level too, where you have the, the attorney general, and then you also have the governor, and sometimes they're from different parties and they butt heads. But in those situations, at least the error then falls on the side of the voter, falls on the side of the public.
Well, the way it currently stands, isn't the attorney's position evaluated every 2 years, renewed every 2 years?
That's correct, yeah.
So we'd be going to 4. Right now, it's done every 2.
But I'm saying I wanted an elected position.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm just saying, those voters could hold those council members
In the town of
accountable for
Shawano.
approving. I don't know the last time there was a non-unanimous vote on putting the staff, and extending them for the next 2 years or whatever.
Sure.
So, I think it's worth a look.
The city of Shawano does it. The city of Shawano
Sure.
elects its city attorney / prosecutor. The voters there decide who they want, and it runs concurrent with the mayor's race, and it works great. There's a lot of cities in Wisconsin that do that. I would like to see us become one of them. I'd like to see that way we have, that's a pretty important position in the city when you're prosecuting people, and I think I'd like to see some accountability to the voters on that. That's the whole reason I put it in, and I think it'll help us cut legal fees, which will help us with our infrastructure problem, and that's kind of why I brought it up.
Okay, Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking just for myself, I don't understand enough about this proposal and what the legal constraints are or are not on us about moving into something like this. So I would move that we refer this to staff for study to come back and tell us what options we have under the law and what are some of the pluses and minuses.
I'll just make one request. That's great. I think that's a wonderful idea. But when it comes back to this committee with the information, can you guys send me something so I'm aware of it and notice?
Make sure you do that, Mr. Pauls.
Yes.
Yeah, if it
By all
takes them a
means.
month or whenever it comes back, I just.
No,
like to
I think
be here
it's,
for you.
we both, alders bring up some great points on this, and you bring up some very good points as well. We need a little more study on it. And, we're talking about 2-year, 4-year, you were thinking about just the law department, but, some things were brought up by Alder Moore about, 4 years for the other departments as well. Is that something that you've thought about as well, or is this?
I'm not asking for any of the other departments
Just
to
pretty much
become
the law
elected positions.
I'm just
What
sure.
you guys, I can't imagine having an elected party manager. It's
Well,
not something I see.
I don't know that needs to be an elected position, but I think there is security and recruitment and stuff, if you're bringing in people to give them, you got
Well, the whole
4 years
reason I'm
before you'll be
bringing it
renewed
forward
or
is because I
appointed and
wanna-
approved,
yeah.
and
For
so.
consistency across the board too, so I don't know.
Right.
But I just wanted it to be an elected position. That's the whole reason I brought it forward.
Okay.
Not for your
Well-
recruiting needs. I want the voters, to recruit our legal
Okay.
department moving forward.
Thank you, David.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thanks.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Well, we gotta clear the floor and then see
Oh.
anybody else that wanted to.
Oh, is there anybody else that'd like to speak to this matter?
All right, make a motion and return to regular order.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Tom, go ahead. You said you made your motion?
My motion is to refer this matter to staff for study as to legal constraints we have going forward on this matter and opinions relative to the pluses and minuses of doing something like this.
Could I just offer that quick amendment that we do an evaluation of all of our appointed staff?
Accept that.
Okay.
Okay.
Then a second?
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. All right, number 7, consideration with possible action on a report of routine personal actions for regular employees.
Move to receive and place on file.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
To adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you all. That was
And then,